1 second. Yes, ma'am.
We are so lucky to have Toshma Graves teaching how to help buyers win in a seller's market where there's low inventory. And she is awesome, and she's helped zillions of buyers. And so she's got handouts she's passing out, and she's very interactive, so she wants audience participation and answering questions. And if you don't already love her, you're gonna love her, because I do. All right, Miss Pinckney Graves, take it away.
It's not biased at all, Miss Stacy. All right, awesome. So yes, I am Toshma Pinckney Graves. The name is so long that the market only knows me as Toshma Graves. My full name is actually Toshma Pinckney Graves, hence my branding is the Pinckney Group. This is personal yet related. I will be dropping the Graves and going to Pinckney this year as part of my 15-year anniversary. March 14th will be my, no, 18th. March 18th will be my 15th year in this business, continually as a real estate assistant. So I bring that up because, again, our audience buys us at the end of the day. The buyer is buying into the service that we provide, and we represent our business. So today I am talking about how to win in a how buyers win in a seller's market. And it really is about expectation. I am extremely a proponent of the buyer consultation. And actually most of you I've not seen before, so you may not know anything about me. Like I said, 15 years in the business. This is actually July 1st will be my 5th year at Keller. So I'm still a newbie at Keller. And when I moved over in 2015, it was basically a rebirth. So I cannot express enough how you are in absolutely the best place to launch your careers or reinvent your careers if you've already had your license for a little while. The systems and the processes are bar none. I was an actual stand-up trainer of software, one of my former lives, before I got into real estate. So I'm very heavy on education and training, and Keller is hands down the place where you get that. So I don't just say that. They didn't pay me to say that. My numbers will tell you that. So I'm not a person to be boasting in, oh, I did this, I did that. I will tell you, I went from barely 50,000 in 2015. I had made more money before then, but I was definitely a victim of the market. And so I was just rebuilding, and I went from barely 50,000 2015 to my next year was 6 figures, and I've never looked back. So this year has been, or 2019 was actually my best year here. It was 41 transactions. I am a single agent. I'm a solo agent. I have vending partners that help me through the process. So I have showing agents. My business is 60-40 buyers. So I tell you that because that's one of the reasons why I'm up here. You're probably like, why is she talking to me? Because I work with a lot of buyers. And our philosophy, and most philosophies of real estate businesses, are listings to last, listings to leverage. That's where you can grow the most. And that is definitely a true statement. There have to be buyers to buy the listings, though. So we have a place in the market. And quite honestly, out of 41 transactions, 30 of them were buyers last year in a seller's market, and all of my clients came away with something they wanted, either closing costs, either some of them got tremendous things I didn't believe they were going to get, like $20,000 and $30,000 and $40,000 off list price. So we talk about how to strategize, and it's all about expectation setting. When the buyer buys into you to come and meet with you in the consult, they're trusting that you're going to guide them through this process. So the winning is not always in the price, and that is the piece that I like to kind of connect with you guys. And you have to explain that before we hit the marketplace, because buying a house is like having a baby, and if any of you have had children, you know that. We all have opinions. We all have experiences. And it's like, okay, well, I did this, and I bought a house with no money down. They're lying. And so it's up to you to be able to kind of navigate them through that, to understand how they will expend some resources. Okay? And we have to set that expectation up front. And it's really important when we
I'm right here.
Okay. When we do that, then our buyers win. So the win is not always, oh, I got $50,000 off the price. The win nowadays in the seller's market is, oh, I got the house before the 20 other people. So how do we do that? And how do we make them feel like they have won? Because that is a win. Okay. Anybody have any preemptive questions for me? No, this is interactive, ladies. Definitely interactive. Okay, I want to pass this around. If you don't have your job description, please take a picture of this and put it on your phone, recreate it, whatever you want to do. That is our job description. So number 5, it is not in any particular order because they are all critical. And I will tell you, I'm extremely guilty of not doing number 5, which is practicing the scripts, because I don't want to sound like I don't know what I'm talking about. So, we get uncomfortable. Oh, I don't want to practice that. I want to say it in front of you. Oh my God, that's terrible. So I get really hesitant about the script practice. Doing a buyer consultation is part of your script practice. So my philosophy is you can always do a buyer consultation, especially if you're bringing them into the office. Professionals have different philosophies. Some say, hey, I'm not doing a consultation until they get approved. When I meet them, I want to know they can buy a house. What do you think about that philosophy? Does that make sense? Yeah, does that make sense?
Some people need to have their hand held.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking my personal experience when I bought my first house.
Mm-hmm.
My agent earned her money. But, I was very hesitant about getting pre-approved because to me, it was a commitment.
Mm-hmm.
A really commitment at that point.
Okay.
So,
I agree. So that's my philosophy. I feel like everyone deserves a consultation. And that is actually one of my catch points when I do open houses. That is a source of lead generation for me. And I offer a free home buyer consultation because I need them to buy me. They're going to buy whatever I advise them to buy once they're my client. Like, that's the whole point. So the point is to get them in front of you, get them in a neutral place, well, quite frankly, a place that you manage and control, to be honest with you, so that you can manage the expectations and manage the experience. So the number one thing is you want to get that person in front of you in a consultation first. And then you want to get them, make sure that they're qualified and all that good stuff. Now, ideally, they are qualified. And if there's a really long gap between when you speak to them or when you hook them in to come meet with you and the actual meeting, recommend, let's have a conversation with some of our lending partners so that we can strategically look for you during our consultation. So it's another way of saying get pre-approved, but I've heard actually a lot of agents like, oh, well, let's get together once you're pre-approved. Well, some of them don't even know what that is.
Right.
I had a gentleman tell me he was approved. Like, he was like, oh yeah, I got an approval letter. And I was like, okay, great. And I said, well, bring it when you come to the consultation. I got that thing. It was not an approval. It wasn't even a pre-qualification. It was his verification that he had military benefits.
Oh.
So, and he was like, oh, I thought I was approved. I mean, people really don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
So, go ahead.
Well, what about working, and you may go over that, but I had an incident recently where I'm helping somebody get prepared to purchase, and they were referred to me by a lender.
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks in, the lender says, I think I can get you done.
Mm-hmm.
So, Tracy, I want you to start showing her houses.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I need a pre-approval letter before I take her out because I knew there were issues there.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, no, she can get a $250,000 home right now. Go ahead and show it. I said, okay, send me the pre-approval letter. Then we get an email back 3 hours later. My underwriter says you're not approved. We can't do anything for you. So it killed her spirits. And now I'm in the loop of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to take her, work with her, get her where she needs to be, but pull her away from him because he doesn't know what he's. And I'm like, how do you salvage that or You know, so it doesn't look like you're taking a lead from somebody who referred it to you, because you don't want to mess up those relationships. But it's kind of like, okay, right is right.
Well, if you don't mind, Tracy, I'm going to table your specific answer till afterwards. However, I am going to use your example in saying that I don't, however, take anyone out until they are pre-approved. And so we will have the consultation, and I'll have as many consultations as I feel is comfortable. Because again, whether they're ready today, 6 months from now, a year from now, it's never too early to know this recipe. This is my recipe. So what you have is the home buyer blueprint that I work by, and a lot of agents do. It looks different. Everybody has it set up a little bit differently, but this is the home buyer process. They need this education. And again, once you get through this recipe, they will have an idea if you're the person to work with them or not. And that's really all you want, because you're going to need to check whenever they're ready. So be it 30 days from now or a year from now, you're going to need to check every month. So it's all about building the relationship and building the pipeline. So I say that because that's my philosophy. Not everyone has that. Some people are like, hey, we need to be approved first and then we do the consult. I bring them into the consult because, as Gail mentioned, a lot of times they don't even know that part of the process. And they haven't really even bought into you. So they're calling you, or they're connecting with you and saying, hey, I want to look at houses. And you're like, great, well, go get approved and then call me back. And it's like, well, what is it? Like, you didn't give me any value. What am I doing? Great. Come on in. Let's have a consultation about how we're going to help you win in this market. Everybody wants to win. We use words that charge the emotion. Let me help you win. Yeah, come on in. What do I need to do? I'm like, hey, you don't need to do anything. Come on in. Let's talk about it. Let's talk through the process, because we do, in this process, talk about a little bit about finances. So, and then you, of course, have your lenders on standby to get them on the phone and get them qualified. So when they mention, hey, if a lender tells me that, and hey, yeah, they're approved, or they send me an approval letter, I pick up the phone, ask qualifying questions. If they send me an approval first to make sure they are approved. If they haven't sent me a letter, Tracy and everyone else in here, that's not, we're gonna hold off until we have the approval letter, because again, we're in a competitive market. So quite frankly, unless you're working with buyers that are in the 600 plus price point, everything is a seller's market right now. So you can use that scripting. Hey, we're in a seller's market, so we want to make sure we help you win. When we go to look at homes, we're going to look at the home that can be yours, and we don't want to be waiting for the approval letter, because we won't win. Did I say we're not going out till you have an approval letter?
Right. No.
Did you feel like that's what I said?
Yeah.
Right, so you see what I'm saying? I want you to win. Let's make sure we have the letter in hand, because when we go out and look at homes, we're going to look at the home that is going to be yours, and we want to be able to win and compete. So I'm not cranking my car till I know we can approve. I have someone right now that's four months out of her approval now. So, and she wanted to go look at homes. I'm like, great, let's go ahead and get your letter updated, because as you know, we've been looking at homes under 200,000, which is like a purple unicorn. So when we do find that home that it can be yours, we want to make sure we can win. So what I said is, we're not going out again until your approval letter is updated to make sure your credit and nothing else has changed. Make sense? Okay. So the objectives today, this is actually the objectives of my consultation. And I'm sorry, ladies, I am so bad with names. It is not personal, please. I know Tracy, that's why I know her name. I know Gail, that's why I know her name. Takesha.
Takia.
Dang.
Just think about tequila.
Takia. Okay. So I will start off a consultation first by, of course, Takia, I appreciate you so much coming in today to meet with me. I'm excited. Now remind me again, how did we get connected?
Through a mutual friend.
Perfect. And that was Sandy. I just really want to thank you so much, and I'm going to reach out to Sandy, thank her for suggesting you come in today. So, Takia, you will have this in front of you, whatever your consult package looks like. So, Takia, while I'm getting set up for you, if you don't mind, if you would fill out the contact information form. I have some of this information, but I just want to make sure that I have all of the best contact info for you. So, pause. You can do this however you like. I actually am coming into the 21st century and getting it in email version so that they can do it beforehand as well. I am still a person that writes things down, so I tend to write my notes about the person on the back of this sheet so that I know I don't lose it. But however you want to work that out. I will pass these around just so you can look at this folder. So while they're filling this contact information sheet out, say, okay, so Takia, I appreciate you coming in so much. The purpose of our consultation today is threefold. The first thing I want to do is make sure you are comfortable with the home buying process. It is a process, and I want to make sure that we set you up to win. So again, whether we're ready to look at homes tomorrow or it'll be 6 months from now, this will be the home buying process. With that being said, the process does tend to change, so it's really important that we update whenever we go outside of the 30 to 60 days. Is that fair? Mm-hmm. So that would be our first purpose, to make sure you're crystal clear on the home buying process. The second objective for today is to take your wants, wishes, and requirements and match them with what the market is providing. We will do that by going online and looking from a high-level view at what the marketplace is offering today. The third part of our objective is trustfully, by the end of our experience today, you are comfortable knowing that I am the partner to help you in this process. Is that fair? Mm-hmm. So what did you think about what I said? Man, I thought I turned it on. How did that sound to you guys?
It sounds great.
You sound very knowledgeable. You sound like the expert.
Right.
And you make me feel comfortable wanting to work with you.
Yes.
So did I let you know today that I expect you today to choose me or not choose me?
To choose you.
Thank you. That's what we want, obviously. We want them to choose us. Because again, it doesn't matter if they're buying in the next 30 days or they buy 6 months from now. We want to be the person that they call, correct? Because we're going to need a check 6 months from now. Oh, well, I'm going to need a check 6 months from now. I can't speak for everybody's situation. Okay, so that, yes, ma'am.
Quick question on what you said. I loved what you said, but I can't remember the very last part because it really speaks to the lack of inventory. It said you're going to go over your wants, needs, and desires, and what did you say? Something like match that with what's on the market now?
Yes,
Or how did you?
I said and match that with what the marketplace has to offer,
With what the
or what the
marketplace-
marketplace provides.
The marketplace provides. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're kind of setting that expectation right there. That what they want might not be out there in that price range because we don't have houses on the market. Yeah, okay.
And that is why my consultations take more than 30 minutes. Now, let me put a pin in that and back up to say, when we're selling the option to meet with us, we're all adults. We all know we would never commit to spending 2 hours anywhere if it wasn't with our families or something that we really, really, really want to do. So my script is, and I'm sorry, tell me. Stephanie. My script is, we're on the phone and I say, Stephanie, I'm so excited that you decided on home ownership this year. So part of what we're going to do to help you win, you and your family win, Stephanie, is meet for buyer consultation. In that consultation, we're going to spend 30 to 40 minutes in the process. We may go longer depending on your questions. Most people will commit to 30 to 40 minutes. They might even get a little skittish with it if you said an hour. So 30 to 40 minutes they'll agree to. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Did I lie? Did I deceive you?
No.
No. I know I'm going to take more. I am going to take 30 to 40 minutes. But guaranteed they're going to ask you questions. So if it runs longer, it runs longer. When I know that we have an unrealistic buyer and they want a 4-bedroom on a basement in Cobb County for $200,000, then I know we're gonna have to set expectations. We're gonna have to look at some other areas. We're gonna have to do all that. So that's gonna take time. Make sense? Out of doing this, and I was doing consultations before I came to Keller, but this is the first time I have been instructed to bring them into this office, and this is a great place to do it. So the environment is conducive. It lets them know you're a professional. So we're gonna meet in here, and you're not losing. Out of the 5 years I've been here, I've had maybe 2 people leave, and that wasn't because they were bored. The kids started crying and they were hungry. I didn't foresee that. But no one has ever said, I'm not working with you because you told me 30 minutes and we were here 2 hours. I mean, usually they're apologizing to me, going, I'm so sorry I took so long. I didn't know it was going to take this long, but I'm so glad that we did this. Never had anybody walk out on me because we've been here an hour and a half to 2 hours. Okay? Because if you're providing value, they're going to stay. Make sense? But I would suggest using that scripting or something like it, 30 to 40 minutes, because this will take these 2 pages here, and out of that booklet that you're looking at now, I really only go over these 2 things. So I have this laminate, that's a side note, because you're going to use that a lot. You may even want to mark on it. So I just laminate mine. I do update it every year because the what do you call those things? The GAR forms change every year, so you get the updated one. There's a page missing. Does anyone else have the? Oh, did I not make it? Okay. Oh, I underestimate how many people are interested today. Okay. All right. So that is the beginning of my consultation. Anybody have any questions? Anything not clear? Am I moving too slowly? Good. Good. Okay. All right. Here we were. So once we get through them filling out the contact information form, we go into our blueprint. So this is our recipe for success. Okay. And I'm speaking to you guys, but this is actually what I'm saying in the consultation as well. This is our recipe for success. Okay. Dion, this is a progression. It happens exactly as we see this recipe. From start to finish. We will start at the beginning, and by the time we get to the end of this process, you'll have your keys. Okay. Is that exciting? All right. Now, just like life, some of these things tend to get a little jumbled up, though. But we need to go through all of them, okay? Some things will happen really quickly. Some things will happen at the same time. But at the end, you will have your keys. So let's get started. Now, the reality is, Dion, most of us start at number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The average buyer, all of us, we start at 6. When we decide we want to move from our parents' home, or life is changing, we're downsizing, when we're just tired of renting, whatever the case may be, this is the first thing we do, because that's the sexy part, right? The reality is there's 5 steps you missed below, and there's at least 15 steps afterwards. What tends to happen is when you don't employ the help of a real estate professional like myself, we tend to start here at viewing properties and fumble our way through to the end, and you don't end up with a good experience. That's why I congratulate you on coming in to meet with me today so that we can help you win in this experience. Is that cool? Awesome. So, starting here at viewing properties, we should, however, back up to the beginning where we hire a real estate professional. The way we hire a professional is in writing. So, pause. I do go through why you need to hire me in writing, so that there's no conflict. Take the buyer exclusive buyer's agreement. The first page of this document is basically the agreement. What this says is that you let the marketplace know you are represented by a professional, and in return, I am going into overdrive to help you win in terms of resources, negotiating, and the like. Is that fair? Now, what happens if you don't sign one of these? Can I still represent you? Absolutely. I would represent you as a customer instead of a client. Deanna, are you comfortable with what the difference is between a customer and a client?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
You want me to
Yes,
say?
please.
Oh, okay. A client, of course, they sign the form. You are, your due diligence is to the client. They've hired you. You work for them. A customer, you work for them, but of course they may work for somebody else. Work with somebody else as well. And I think that's about it.
Okay.
Am I- Okay.
Okay. I mean, there's definitely a distinction.
Yeah.
So I'm a Southern girl, if you haven't noticed that yet. So I'm from Georgia. So, we Southern girls, we Southern people have stories for everything. So I love telling stories. And I like making analogies. So that's just my personality. For me, a customer and a client would be like one of my favorite fast food places, guilty, is Chick-fil-A. Now, Chick-fil-A is like number one in customer service and fast food, so it's kind of not a fair analogy, but Chick-fil-A. I go there because I expect a certain level of service. And even though, yes, sometimes they may even know your name, once you're done with your experience, they're not calling you, they're not emailing you, they're not seeing how you're doing, they didn't call you back to make sure the food was hot, because it's volume. If you stop going, they're not going under. However, when I go to my physician, I expect a different level of care and concern. So if they give me something that ain't warm enough, we get a lawsuit. That's the difference. I'm a client of my doctors. I'm a customer of Chick-fil-A. I expect a certain level of care and concern when I'm meeting with my physician, my CPA, my lawyer. If the lawyer doesn't get it right, I'm going to jail. So yes, I expect a different level of care and concern. So can I represent you as a customer? Absolutely. But because Sandy recommended you and my business has grown on referrals, I'm really most comfortable representing someone as a client. So if you find at the end of this process that I'm not the one to represent you, I'm totally cool with that. I will make sure that I can partner you with someone that can represent you as a customer. So did I just say we're going to be a client broker, or we're not going to be anything? Did I just say that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Did you feel like that's what I said?
Mm-hmm.
Were you offended by what I said?
No, you made me want to sign.
Right. There's a way to say everything. Again, some people are very direct, and that works for them. I'm not that person. I like to put a little sugar on it. It's still the same stuff, but I just like to put a little sugar on it. We're not going out unless you're my client, though. Yes.
I have a question. So, with me being new to real estate, I'll just be happy to work with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So, in that case, would it still be smart to still try to get them as a client, or initially, customers are okay?
I mean, customers are okay. We legally, our license allows us to represent someone as a customer.
Yeah.
Really, what you want is for them to sign, regardless.
I really
You check off
appreciate
whichever
that.
box you feel comfortable with, but you want them to agree to work with you.
Okay.
Because seriously, as a customer, you're still bound
Yeah.
with certain responsibilities. I just like them to know they're committed to me, and my level of commitment is a client. Make sense?
Do
Okay.
you go through that, the contract with them? So, like,
Stephanie, great question. I
paragraph
do
by
not.
paragraph? No, okay.
What I do is, and I didn't bring it, I take a highlighter, I highlight this first line right here that says, legally in the state of Georgia, we cannot represent you without being in writing. That's what I want them to know. And what I'll say is, I'm going to give you this package is yours. Please read through this, the brokerage agreement. If you have any questions, call me, text me, email me, and let's talk about it. The next time you see this will be an email, and you will just sign it via email.
Okay, so you have to sign it electronically, not while you're sitting there.
Whatever you're comfortable with.
Okay.
I'm working toward that doing it in the consultation. Sometimes I do. And it could be just pulling it up when we're finished on Dot
Just
Loop
letting
and
them
let
do
them
it
do
that
it.
way. Yeah.
Absolutely. But regardless, did you hear my verbiage? The next time you see this, so that means you're signing it
Right.
if we're working together. Okay, so you want them to buy you. That's your first objective in a consultation, is to make sure by the end of the conversation they're agreeing to work with you. Okay. Questions? Yes, ma'am.
So you're doing this at the consultation or before you even do a consultation?
The brokerage agreement?
Yes.
Brokerage agreement I'm doing at the consultation, or I send it to them after they leave, electronically. If you feel more comfortable getting them to sign right then, please, by all means, you want it then. I'm not mad at you. Do what your personality is most
But
comfortable
not
with.
before they even come to a consultation?
I personally don't, because I don't know that they've bought me. I don't know that I've given them enough value to say, work with me. Great point. Tell me your name. Anita. Great question though. If I meet someone at an open house and I'm getting them to come into a consultation, and I mentioned this I think in the class or conversation I had, I will give them a free look because I'm already out working anyways. So if I meet someone in a consultation, I'll say, hey, this house 1, 2, 3 didn't work for you. I have 4, 5, 6 and 11, 12, 13 Main Street that I can show you after the open house if you can meet me at X time. If they agree to do that, when I meet them at the the next house, I'll give them that free look. We're not looking at any more until we come in for a consultation. If you feel like they're going to be on the hook right then I would have a buyer's agreement. And if they're not super confident, because again, you haven't necessarily shown your value. You've been a door opener, and no shade to door openers, because I open doors for people too. But you're opening a door. You're facilitating. They feel like you're the only thing standing between them and a house. They don't understand that they really shouldn't buy that house without you. That's two different things. Does that make sense? So you need to get them to buy into why they shouldn't make a move without you. And I haven't done that, in my opinion, before I've met with them. I haven't given them enough value to say this is why you should work with me. But if they like a house that we've seen, I will have these. I travel with these in my bag, in my car. Hey, we'll just sign a brokerage agreement for this house. But you need to get this. And as a side note, you're going to have this signed in order to get paid. So you might as well get it done up front. You might as well get it done up front. If you can get them to sign one over the phone, that's perfectly fine, Anita. There's nothing set in stone. You're perfectly willing. You can do that for sure. And as an ending to that, I also let people know how they can fire me. This has come with many years, because I was very uncomfortable with that. But I like to put those questions out there because, again, you want them to sign by the end of your time together. So if they have questions, no's are just unanswered questions. They're saying no because they don't understand. They don't understand your value, or they don't see your value, or whatever the case may be. So I put that up front. Hey, Stephanie, even though this is a 7-page document, it is very easy to fire me. I've been fired before in 15 years. I fired some people in 15 years. And they started laughing. I'm like, I have. I fired some people. Because this is my business, and I don't feel like this is like a marriage. And this is my true analogy. This process is like a marriage. We have to make sure that we're equally yoked. And if we're not, then we're not going to make it down the aisle. So we're going to be very intimate over the next 30, 60, 90 days. We're going to call each other 3-4 times a day. We're going to email each other. You're going to tell me things about your family. We're going to be very connected. So if we're not on the same page, it's not going to be successful. So I have been fired, and I have. And I have fired some people, and I have. So it's very easy to fire me. If you find that I'm not the right partner for you, you can turn this piece of paper over and say, as of today's date, I no longer need Toshma services. Have I been fired? Yep.
Yeah. So how did you word that? If you find I am not the right person
Partner-
for you,
partner for you or person
I love
for
the way
you.
you said that. Okay. Yeah, I'm always. it's hard for me to get over that step.
Partner
So I love
person.
the way you said
Yeah.
that, okay.
Put it on the table. That you let them know how you can be fired.
Right.
And I said, now with that being said, because I'm a relationship business, I'm always selling myself because I'm planning to ask for referrals, and that's truly how I keep my business going. You're not gonna see me on the billboard. You're not gonna hear me on the radio for this me. But so referrals are how I get business. So I'm setting them up. It's about the expectation. So if, however, we find that we're at that place, and you think, Gail, that I'm not a good fit for you, you can still fire me. I just ask that you give me the feedback, because that's the only way I'm going to grow and help the next person. Is that fair? I've been fired very seldom. I've actually been fired and rehired. That's how bad it was, because they thought the grass was greener, and they literally begged me, will you please represent me? I was like, I guess. I'm serious. But you gotta make it fun. You gotta make it light, so people don't feel like, oh my God, I'm signing this big 8-page, because half of them don't read it. More than half of them don't read it. They don't. They should. And have you done your job by saying read it? Yes. But half of them don't. They're buying you. Yes.
Let me ask you again. Okay, so you said, if you find I'm not the right partner for you, you can turn this piece of paper over and write on the back of this sheet that
As of
as a,
March 10th, I no longer require Toshma's services.
I no longer, okay, no longer require Toshma. Okay, that's perfect. Thank you.
You're fired. Is there fine print? Yes. Or do you have a protection clause in there, the 90 days?
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
But I'm saying it's really meant to let people know this is not some ominous document that they shouldn't sign. Yes, ma'am.
I got a question.
Yes.
This goes back to what Ms. Richardson was saying. I can't remember your first name.
I'm surprised you remember Richardson.
But what she was saying, when someone calls you, you're so eager to get a buyer, or and so you can go out. And I'm stumbling because I'm not good with public speaking. But I've never to this day, and I've been selling real estate now for a minute, but I've never had anybody to complete it. I did recommend that someone sign it beforehand, and it's like they didn't do business with me. So now I never get anybody to sign before. Even when I've done buyer presentations, consultations, I didn't have your packet as nice. I had a little packet just, that outlines everything that that we'll do, like pretty much this, but it was in paper form, like each page, and we go over through the pages. But every time I get someone to sign that form is when I'm sending them the actual offer that we're submitting. So I think that's a struggle for me, because I did, when you're in school, they tell you get your buyer brokerage agreements and things like that done. And when I felt like I got burned, I guess, so I just never ask anymore for anybody to do it. But then I guess I was in a different market too, because I'm in Columbus, and then this is Atlanta. So
I feel it's about the relationship.
Okay.
How did you feel just hearing me say what I said? Would you have had a problem signing it?
I would not have had a problem signing it.
You got to make it not seem like a big deal. It's
the key.
It's protecting you and them.
Right.
But you got to make it seem like not a big deal. That's why I put the part in there about firing me. I let them break that. I don't want to sign this. Well, it's easy to get out of it if you don't want to sign it. But sign it. Seriously, that's so. If if we're not working out, you can break up with me. It's okay, and we're gonna still be friends.
You put them at ease by saying
Yes. And I've not had anyone not want to sign it. I'm going to be totally transparent with you. I don't do a great job of getting it signed right then either. I don't. Not because they won't sign it. I just hadn't sent it. But I'm working on my systems. Forgive me. I'm not. A lot of people stand up here and I feel like they look like they got it all together, and I'm like, Lord, I'm not together. I'm gonna let y'all know right now, I'm not together. But I love building relationships, and I'm extremely strong at that. And if I've made you feel comfortable enough, you're gonna work with me. I've had clients come, when are you gonna send me the contract? Oh Lord, because I didn't send it. But if you have broken this down as just what it is, piece of paper, this is protecting us both. I'll let you know it's protecting us both, but it's not a big deal. They'll sign it right then. Go ahead and have it at the consultation on the dot loop. Just then go ahead and have it pulled up then. Because it will protect you. It does protect you. And you certainly run the risk. Because let me tell you what's going to happen. What happens? So, person comes to the open house, and you show them 11 houses, and you're like, Lord. And they call you on Sunday at 2 o'clock, can you go show me the house? And I'm like, you're like, oh, she has an open house. Go to the open house. And they come to my open house. And I'm putting on my Southern charm, and we're having a conversation, and everything is great. And I'm going to say, so, Gail, who do you have working with you through this process? And they're like, well, I've had an agent showing me houses. I said, okay, wonderful. How's your experience going? And they're like, yeah, we looked at it. Okay, wonderful. Have you gone into a written agreement with them? Well, no, they've shown me houses, but I haven't gone into an agreement. Okay, well, Gail, I tell you what. Since you're not in a written agreement with someone, I would love to offer you a free consultation just to make sure that you are fine-tuned to go through this process. There's no obligation to you. If you don't work with me, that's totally fine. I'm here to educate the community about how to purchase homes in this market. Would you be agreeable to that?
Yes.
Bam! I got your client. I got your
They
client.
tell you they haven't signed one, and they have.
Well,
Which happens.
that does happen too.
But
does
that
happen
comes out
too.
later.
But it'll come out in my consultation.
Yeah, right.
That's why we in there 2 hours. Now we never get all the questions, but you're gonna get a lot of them.
Yeah.
Dion, I got your client. Once they sit down with me,
Oh, it is happening.
so do you need it signed? Yes, you do. And people more and more go look at homes without you. Because they see them on Zillow and they just go to the open house.
Absolutely.
And you thinking you got something and you don't. So, and it's happened, it's happened to me too. It's happened to me not getting the sign. And I've definitely gotten a whole bunch of clients and agents thought they had an agent, thought they had a client, and then they bought a house. And they're like, how you buy a house? I'm like, oh, I met this lady at the open house. Questions, ladies. Questions. Okay, so we are, so we're here. So I'm gonna step through a little more swiftly. So we sign a brokerage agreement. Then we make sure that you have been, we have solidified your budget. This is what I say. Then we want to make sure we've solidified your budget, Dion, because we want to make sure when we go to look at homes, we're looking at homes that can be yours.
Right.
Is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay, so I appreciate you for already having come in with your budget. I don't really like saying your approval letter. It just sounds so clinical. We will say it during the process, but me personally, I want to make sure we're firm on your budget. And when they start to fidget and get, like, I don't know. So here's the thing, Stephanie, there's two parts to your budget. There's your budget tolerance and your budget range. In my opinion, those are two different things, and we need to know them both. So when you get your approval with the lending partner, make sure you get your maximum budget range. Even though I know you've told me you want to spend $1,100 a month, let's make sure we know exactly how much you're capable of doing on paper. Do you want to know why? Because once we're finished with this, our consult today, you're going to tell me your wants, wishes, needs, and requirements. We're going to look at what the marketplace provides. If I know in the back of my head, and let me say, I'm always going to respect what you tell me you want. So if 1,100 is it, then that's what it is. But if I know that you're able to do 15, and I can get 4 of the 5 things you wanted instead of 2 of the 5 things you wanted, how would you feel if you missed out on almost perfect house for you for another $80, $100 a month? How would that make you feel? And just let them answer. I won't know that if you don't get an approval. Like you've told me 1,100, and you even told the lender 1,100. So they're gonna do what you asked them to do, but then you could have qualified for 12 or 1,300, which would have given you more of what you wanted. Does that make sense?
It does.
So the approval letter is, we need that approval, that budget, the full budget, for 2 reasons. We need to know what you're capable of doing, and then we will always respect what you want to do.
And the budget is the max.
The budget is the max. So I always encourage people to get the maximum that they get the approval for the maximum they can do. And then the client will determine where they want to fall in that price range. Make sense? Okay. So now we're here today in our consultation step 4. So we're going to take your budget and match it with your wants, wishes, and requirements. And then we're analyzing them here in the consultation. Then we select properties. Okay? So expectation setting. Then we will go up to the big screen, and I'll pull this up in conjunction with going through the next few steps. So we're going to select properties and then view properties. So we're going to select some properties here in the consultation and take a look at it. We're going to open some doors just from being online, because the reality is most of our buyers nowadays will buy homes online. They're at least going to buy the thought of going to look at it online. 90% of them, we're going to look online first. So we're going to do online shopping in here today. Okay, and then we're going to set up a few, anywhere from 3 to 5 homes to look at. Let me explain to you how I'm going to maximize your time in viewing properties. Gail, you're going to send me properties. I'm going to send you properties. We're both going to be on this focused hunt to find just the right home for you. When you tell me, Gail, that your next available time to meet is Saturday and today is Wednesday, I'm just letting you know I will be vetting those properties on Friday night. And some of them I won't even vet till Saturday morning, because we are in a seller's market. So imagine how you would feel, Gail, if you took off from work, got the kids together, jumped in the car, we went to look at 123 Main Street, only to find out, and you fell in love with it, to find out we couldn't get it. But that wouldn't be a great use of your time, right? And then how would your experience be with me? So I'm letting you know up front, don't think I'm not working because you don't hear from me every day. I'm going to vet those properties the day before our appointment, and sometimes again the morning of, depending on the area and how hot the market is moving at that point. So that when we go look at those homes, it can be a home that can be yours. I keep selling that because, ladies, we don't show houses. We don't get paid to show houses. We get paid to sell houses. This is fun for them. This is work for us. I've shown 11 houses to people before. It's not fun anymore. So you want to be able to maximize your time so you can work with this client, drop them off, and work with the next client, drop them off. So you want to set the expectation. We're going to look at homes that can be yours. Make sense? Okay. So view properties. When we get ready to, when we see the home that you love, we don't want that to be the first time you see the contract, the agreement. So we are going to walk through the main ingredients of your purchase agreement. So have this printed out as well, or online if you're an online person. I will identify the 5 hot major areas. And I apologize, I did not print this all the way out, but please put these numbers down, write these numbers down. This again is an 8-page document. However, the body of the agreement is on the first page. So this is where we're going to do most of the negotiating. I really do want you to read through this, Tracy, at your leisure. Make sure you read through every page. I will show you page 1. Anything with a fill in the blank is where we negotiate. Okay? But if you take a look at pages 2, and I will literally flip through every page, 2 through 7, it's boilerplate. So once you read through it, it pretty much does not change. So you read for understanding, it's going to stay the same. we come back to fill in the blanks on page 7. Okay? So anywhere there's a fill in the blank are the areas that we can negotiate. Okay? Read through the entire document. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, let's go over them. You can call me, text me, email me. Okay? But we need you to be comfortable with this agreement before we hit the market looking. Because again, once we get out there looking at homes, we're not going to have time for you to take 2 days to read this. I need you to be okay with it before we get out in the marketplace. Is that fair? Because I'm here to help you win. And we can't win if it takes you 2 days to read this. The other 10 people have already put their offer in. Pause. What do you think about that?
I love it.
Because I just had that happen too.
Did you spend, I'm not spending 2 hours reading through this.
Right.
They're going to spend 2 hours reading through it and then call me with questions. Here is what I am going to go over in the consultation. Numbers, and you can pick out whatever you're comfortable with. This is what I feel is some of the most pertinent information. Purchase price, which is this year is number 2. Closing costs is number 3. Earnest money is number 4. Inspection and due diligence is number 5. And the special steps is number 6. Those are the 6 areas of the contract that I do talk about in detail in the consultation. Okay? Questions? So purchase price, closing costs, earnest money, inspection, due diligence, and special steps. Okay? So, another, not side note, but pin here. Even though we're sitting across the table from the listing agent, we are in a must-be win-win situation, or none of us get paid. And this is part of the expectation setting that I let clients know. I don't say that part, but I'm letting them know, setting the expectation that it's not always price that we're going to win. We are in a seller's market right now. All these other places where we're talking about and filling in the blanks, these are also places we can win. So you have to show them how special steps is just as much a win as getting $20,000 off the price. Make sense? That's the part that I'm spending time on in the consultation. So we talk about price, and then that's where we would go to, we would go to, I like using this because of course I get that all the time. I get the 200. Okay, so down here at the bottom, of course y'all know that number is always like 5,000 plus. So I'll bring them to the FMLS page and I'll put in some of those parameters because at this point we've talked about a few parameters, where they want to live, how many bedrooms, that type of thing. So I'll say, okay, Stacy, if you would keep your eyes in the bottom left-hand corner of this screen. And it'll say 5,000 plus here first. So before I put in any parameters, we're looking at least 29 to 42 counties in the metro area. This number will be 5,000 plus. Once I put in just 200, anything up to 200, we're already at a number that will now read. So out of 9 million people in metro Atlanta, we've got about 2,000 houses under 200. So we're already running uphill. Okay. And then we put in, most people want at least a 3-bedroom, and we put in at least a 2-bath. And now we're down to 1,400 homes. Are you guys watching that number in the corner? Yes. Okay. And then I put in Cobb County, and bam, 35 whole houses. So, Gail, how do you feel about the fact that out of almost 9 million people, now, whatever the number is, 6 million people, let's just say 6 million people, that are looking for a $200,000 home, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, how do you feel about competing with them for 35 homes?
Discouraged.
Okay. So part of what we're going to do today is take those priorities that you said you wanted, and let's see how flexible some of those things are. Pause. We're not leaving. This is the part that takes the 2 hours. We're not parting until we come to an understanding about the opportunities, because I'd rather spend 2 hours in here than waste 5 weeks out there and my gas and my time and end up potentially losing the client because they're discouraged. I'd rather you be discouraged right here in this hour and a half, and you can decide to work with me or not. And either way, I practiced my script, so I did my job. You see what I'm saying? Like I still won. If you don't sign with me, I still practiced. Does that make sense? So we're not getting in the car until you understand we have 35 homes and we don't even know what they look like. Oh, did I mention they want new construction? Yeah. So out of 35 homes, brand new, and that's probably not even on there. Does that make sense? So this is very compelling, ladies. If you do this in the consultation, especially if you've already been doing the homework and know that the market's rough wherever they are, if you do that visual, it will bring them with you. That we're going to have to work through this priority list. So maybe we don't get 3 bedrooms, or maybe we don't get the basement, or maybe we're not in Cobb. What is our maximum commute time? And I always say commute time, not miles. We all know in Atlanta, it takes me 20 minutes to get to 285 and it's 2 miles away. So commute time, not miles. And then we start doing a radius with the commute time that they're willing to do. Does that make sense? Okay, so we are setting expectations, and we haven't even looked at those. For 35 houses, we could probably look at all of those during the time that we're together. And what I'll do, is what they do at home. We go through and we'll just page. Okay, Dion, from this first page, is this a home you want to go inside? Be honest.
No.
Great, and that's what I do. From the very first picture, I'll go through the homes. Do you want to go in the front door? If they get through half the list and they didn't want to go in the front door, then I know we need to revisit. Because again, I know we only have 35 houses.
Right.
We already got through 17 already, and you don't want any of them. And that was at the top of the price point, remember? Because they really wanted 150. And they didn't even like the way the 200 ones looked. Then we got a problem. Does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense.
So we're doing all this here, ladies, not out at the house. You've already spent time and money going out there for them to be like, oh, this is not it. Take the time and spend the time going through these homes, and then you go through the pictures. Well, if they at least get in the front door, then you start going into the pictures. Okay, what do you think about the kitchen? What do you think about the bathroom? How does it look? What kind of size are we looking at? Do you want a sitting room? Do you want an oversized bedroom? Do you like trees? Don't like trees? All those questions till we get down to, okay, when we go to look at homes, we're probably ended up in a little bit of Paulding County instead of Cobb. Make sense? Okay. So we are viewing properties. We go through the contract. So we go through purchase price, closing costs. I'm showing them in the closing cost section. We don't break it down there, but I bring out this sheet here. And my scripting is basic, or my conversation is, I am not the lending professional. I know just enough about the money part to be dangerous. However, I've sold enough homes over this time to know what the closing costs look like. So we're going to break them down so that you're crystal clear on your investment. And then your lender is going to give you more precise numbers depending on the home that you decide to purchase. This is the other piece that takes a while in the consultation. Because I'm going to be honest with you, if you have not vetted your loan officers and know how they deliver service, I've run across many a client that never really got this stuff broken down, and they don't know where their money goes. And that's how your deal starts to unravel. It's critical that you interview your lending partners, first of all, and make sure that you know what this stuff is, okay? Because this is it. If you look at, if you've made any one closing, take that settlement statement and compare it. This is the stuff that's on there. And you want to at least give them an idea, because they'll just say, well, the lenders will typically say, well, this is your cash to close. They don't really know where all this money goes. They need to understand this. So, for the interest of time, because I want to respect you guys' time, we did, in fairness, start like 15 minutes late. Can y'all give me another 10 minutes? Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna jump out of my process just a second so I can explain this. I don't typically explain it until we've finished going through the process, the steps. But I want you guys to see this. So what we do on this page, I will take, I'll just take a piece of paper and cover one side and say, okay, on the left-hand side, Anita, please let me know any of those terms you are not familiar with. And then I'll give them a chance to read through them. If they hesitate at all, and so for anybody in here who's brave enough to say anything, just tell me, is there any term on the left-hand side that you're not familiar with? Somebody?
Transfer fees.
Okay, perfect. Hopefully they'll edit this out of the video. This is truly what I say though. I said, okay, so Gail, transfer fees, honestly, they're government junk fees. But we all have to pay them. It's a one-time fee that literally shows the transfer of ownership from the seller to the next owner. The good news is that it's calculated in your lump sum closing costs, so it's not like you have to write a separate check for it. And that's truly what I say. Anything else? Okay. So I go through these. If they don't have any questions and they're first time buyers, I might still prod them a little bit because some of them may be like most of us, just don't want to open our mouth. And I'll say, okay, so are you comfortable with what title insurance is? And then usually that's one of the ones they're just not. They obviously know it's insurance, so they got that part, but they don't really know what it is. So I will take time to explain this if people don't know them. So great, once we're clear on the terms, I say, okay, so Gail, when you put all of these items, these costs associated with closing together, it's expressed as a percentage. And typically that is around 3 to 4%. So just for our exercise, we're going to use 3.5%. And then at the very top, I have them put in our example sales price. So most of the time people have come in with some idea either of a payment. A lot of them come in with just a payment that they feel like this is what I can pay. Some people have it approved already and they know their budget. But we're going to put a number there. And then that's what I'm going to do this calculation on. Okay, so we'll do 3.5% of 200,000. Okay. So then they'll write that there. I let them fill this in so they can touch and feel these numbers. Okay? And then I'll do the same on this side. Oh, pause, back up. So on this side, I say, okay, so Gail, with these closing costs, these are the things, the items that you will be responsible for. Even if you pay cash, 99% of these items you would still have. So this is how, this is for you to know you will have an investment in this process. Okay? These are closing costs. The great thing though is we bounce back to our purchase agreement in number 3, as we mentioned. This is the side of the process or the transaction that the seller can help us with. So imagine, back to our example, when I know you said I want to, I don't want to pay full price, and I want to go in $10,000 off this $200,000 house. Well, if we get it for $190 instead of $200, you're still going to have almost $8,000 in closing costs.
Right.
So is it more important for you to have $10,000 off the price, or have $10,000 still in your pocket? Or more importantly, get the seller to give you $10,000. What's more important to you? And I let them answer. Because in my head, I know good and well, they're not getting ready to negotiate $10,000 off a price with 35 houses. That's how I'm helping us win. And I'm actually helping the listing agent too, because I want us all to win. We're not coming in with something ridiculous. And that's when I let them know, hey, we may even have to up the price. So if you're at $210 and your budget is really $250, if it's important to you to get this $8,000 because you really only have this $8,000, then we need to negotiate for closing costs. And it's most important that we get the closing costs for you because that's what you said is important. Make sense? So we may even have to go to $210 so that we can ask the seller to give us $10,000 back or whatever the number is. Make sense? You are counseling your clients to do this based on your research of the areas that they have mentioned are important to them. That's how they're going to win. So they're not trying to go $10,000 off the price and they still need $9,000 or $7,500 in closing costs. They're not going to win. and you're just gonna be writing a whole bunch of contracts that's never gonna win. So at least if you help them tune their mind into, oh man, I might have to go up, but I really need that. And then some people may not need it, but that a lot of people do need closing costs. Make sense? Okay. So then we go over to the right hand side, and same thing. Hello, Selena. So hey, any questions? What are the terms over here that you're not comfortable with? Never seen before. Let me get those. Okay. So I have on the, where is it? Oh, on the home buyer guide, it might be a little dark on the black and white version. I have actually put in price ranges in those boxes, and we have talked about them. So their first investment is the earnest money check, at least 1%. It is a fill in the blank, so it's always negotiable. That is the proper thing to say. With that being said, in this marketplace, there is an expectation that usually over $100,000 we're at least going to put 1%. And that's what I'm going to counsel you or suggest to you, that we at least be ready to write a 1% check. Setting your buyer up. So they're not going to take a $200,000 house and give $500 in earnest money. And I will say this, because you and I both can go over to Capitol Grill right now and eat $500. You've put no skin in the game in the seller's mind. Okay? But imagine if you're competing against 4 other people or 3 other people for the same house, and they didn't get the education that you're getting. You got somebody bidding $200 with a $500 check, somebody bidding $200 with a $1,000 check, and you're bidding $200 with a $2,500 check. Who do you think the seller's going to pick? It's your money. It's not like it's their money. It's your money. It's going to be held in a third-party place, but it lets the seller know you're serious. And let me tell you, just as someone that has partnered with sellers, it's not just because you gave more money. What it shows is that you have the money to give. The seller wants to sell their house. This is a dating game. We want to be the pretty girl picked at the dance. So this is a strategy that we can use when we can't go up in price, but we want the seller to pick us. Just consider it prepaid down payment, because that's what it is. Or that's what it can be used for. And it's your money. And my job still then becomes to guard your money like a hound dog. And understand I will, this is exactly what I say, understand I will, because I do not win unless you close on the home you love. So imagine if you lost your earnest money, how likely are we going to be able to get to the next house? You got to go find another $2,500. So I become vested in making sure I protect your money through the duration of this process. Is that fair? So when we're ready to bid on the house, if Anita, I say, hey, is this the house you love? Is this the one you're going to move your family in? And you tell me yes. I'm like, hey, let's see if we can write a $2,500 or $3,000 earnest money check. I don't want you looking at me sideways like you do right now. And then, of course, they laugh. But I've shown them how this can be a good strategy. And we have won homes that way. Because the seller's not just thinking, hey, they bid more money. It's the reasoning behind, hey, they have $2,500, they have $3,000 that they can come up off a check right now. So that lends to my buyer's financial solvency. So that's telling them, hey, we might actually be able to get to the closing table. Mm-hmm. How concerned am I as a listing agent when I get an offer for $200,000, it's 100% financing, and they want to give me $250 earnest money? Yeah. Am I presenting it? Yes, because legally I'm bound to. But if I have another offer, I'm definitely presenting the other one too. Because that's exactly what I'm going to tell my seller. They're 100% financing with a down payment program, and they only gave me $250 in earnest money. I'm not super comfortable we're going to make it to the closing table. You see where I'm going? Mm-hmm. So, questions? What do you guys think about that? Is this beneficial?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Ooh, man. Really? Oh, okay, so here. So then by the end of this sheet, they're either ready or they're not ready. It's our job as their consultant to allay those fears or those hesitancies, because this number's big for a lot of people. Because most people, especially first-time buyers, they're only coming in with the perception that they need down payment. That's it. So they might have the $7,500 for 3.5% down on $200,000. They did not even clue into this other $7,500 that they were going to need to get to their keys. Nor did they clue in on, they probably knew about they either knew about the appraisal or knew about the inspection. They don't always know about both. They don't always know about the survey. So it's up to you to explain all of those things. You add all those numbers up, and it's usually double what they thought. So I will say, okay, Stephanie, so out of this $14,760, if we were looking at homes today, how much of that would you have on hand?
10 grand.
Perfect. Okay. So now we're setting expectations. Then I know, well, I'm going to ask you, so would it be more important for you to negotiate on price or get that extra $4,000?
Extra $4,000 in closing costs. Help
Perfect.
me.
So now I know in my negotiation, we're not going to, if the house is in decent condition and all that good stuff, we're not going to mess with the price. We're going to focus on getting as much closing costs as possible. Make sense? So now you're helping them preemptively with strategies to win. Okay? And that could be up in the price if you know that the market will tolerate more. It could be a lot of different strategies, but now you know. Talk about these numbers, ladies. Don't be afraid to ask them what kind of money they have. And this is even without being pre-approved, because if they come in to you, they still know what kind of money they have, whether they talk to a lender or not. So if they're telling me in the consultation they don't have any money, then I need to pair them with a down payment assistance lender as opposed to one that doesn't work with down payment assistance. Make sense? You got to be asking all of these questions. You're the expert, so don't be afraid to do this. They shouldn't be finding out when it's time to go under contract. Oh, I need $500 to do the appraisal. Oh, I need $500 to do the inspection. Oh, I need $350 to do the survey. It's going to unravel right before your eyes.
So how, can you say again, because I'd like to hear your words and then I can write it down and remember, but, so at the end, how did you phrase it again to them at the end of this? You've completed this with your buyer and you said something about, the 14,000. How did you phrase that again? Would you mind doing that again?
Absolutely.
Okay, role
So,
play.
so Stephanie, we have the $7,500 in closing costs and the $8,500 with down payment and the other associated fees. Of that, roughly $15,000. If we were to go and look at homes today, how much of this would you have available?
10,000.
Perfect.
Okay, so that's how much of this would you have available
Mhm.
if we were to go look at houses today? So that's, you're broaching that money question without making them feel defensive or scared. I love the way you said that. It's just very gentle. These are the facts. This is what it's going to cost. And then they tell you. Hopefully, they're honest. And like you said, you can guide them to a lender if they need the down payment assistance or not, or, and you know what you're dealing with.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because Stephanie, when we go out to look at homes on Saturday, I need you to be ready to write that $2,000 check. And then 3 days after that, you're going to write another $450 check. And then 5 days after that, or 3 to 5 days after that, you're going to write that other $450 check. So I need you to be ready when we get in the car on Saturday to be ready to expend about $4,000. Are you comfortable with that? If they're not, we ain't looking at that.
I'm using this today. I've got somebody who, first it was down payment, and I haven't thoroughly gone through this with her. Because I've just I hate to say I've kind of assumed
Right.
a lot of my clients up to now, but she threw a loop with me on the down payment, and now it's like, oh, can I go see this house? And I've said, well, we don't have a pre-approval letter, but I can use this too. I really need to use this.
They need this money.
Yeah.
I don't care if they're getting VA, because I
Right.
had a VA client that was like, oh, I got a VA. Okay, great. When we sat down with this, there was still almost $8,000 that they needed.
Yeah.
And they had no clue.
Yeah.
Because buying a house was like having a baby. Everybody gave them advice. And, oh, when I had my baby, I had no money now. Y'all lying. That's a lie for the pits of hell. I sit across from closings a lot. Never seen anybody not have a dime that they have invested in this process. Now, do people get money back? Sometimes, yes. But they have to have it first.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So you need to go through this. Don't depend on your lender to break this down. Again, I was telling people, Selena, make sure you partner with a solid lending partner. And even then, they don't always break it down like this because they do it every day. And we were all guilty of our own industry speak, and we make assumptions. Break this stuff down for people so they know where their money's going. And let them know the lender will give you more precise numbers, but this is a good estimate. If you need $15,000 and you want to go look at houses today, Selena, and you don't even have $2,000, then what are we looking at houses for? I don't show houses. I sell houses. We're not going to get paid if we don't sell a house. We don't get paid to show houses unless you're being the showing partner. Does that make sense? So you have to be comfortable saying, in that feeling. Your job is not to show houses. Your job is to sell homes. So if they don't have what they need to be able to put a home under contract, then what are you doing that for? And there's a nice way to say it if you don't, Some of y'all are probably great at being direct, and that's great too. I need to maybe take some tips. But I like to put a little sugar on stuff. I'm like, okay, well, I want you to win. I don't want you to find a babysitter and we go look at homes if you're not able to make that home yours today. Did I just say we're not going to look at a house?
It's all about her. That's the thing, you have to make it all about the client. You
Right.
can't say, I don't want to waste my time.
All about it.
Presentations.
All about
You
it.
deliver it.
I don't want you to waste your time.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to whenever I say the word maximize, I'm always saying don't waste my time. I want to maximize your time today. So let's make sure we at least have these two things. I'm going to do my job, and I'm going to show you a home that can be yours. So when you see it, we want to be able to help you win. Cool? Cool. Okay. Ladies, I want to respect your time. I'm already at 1:20. So how helpful was this?
Extremely.
If you don't take anything else, take this, redo it for yourselves. This is the process. Take this, redo it for yourselves, however you make it comfortable. Sit down. If you haven't actually gone through a deal yet, then connect with your lender and have them help you understand these terms too. And roughly 3.5%, it could be more, but roughly 3.5% on this side, typically on something that's financed. And then you literally add these up. You go in, you get the prices from your appraisals. FHA right now is still $450. They can go up depending on the size of the house, but that's usually a good estimate. Whoever you're working with as an inspector, get their fee range. Put an average number in there. Same for surveys. Go ahead and have that information. And you sit here, you add it up in front of them so they see you're not pulling the numbers out of your rear. And this is what it's going to look like for a $200,000 home. Okay, or $300,000, whatever the number is. Do this with them so that they're armed and they keep this in their folder and they have it. So whenever you're looking at homes and you're wondering how much closing costs, because that's always a question they ask us. They'll ask us before they ask the lender. Well, how much money am I going to need? So if I'm looking at $350, do that same percentage, roughly 3.5%. Boom. Okay. And then if that's the number we need, then that's what we go back and ask the seller for. I do make it clear before we leave, or by the time we leave this page, Stephanie, I want us to be clear that this is your responsibility. At the end of the day, this is the cost associated with getting to the keys to your home. We are going to negotiate as much as we can to help bring this right-hand side or this left-hand side down for you from the seller, if that's what's important to you. But I want us to be comfortable that this is our number. And I don't have that. Okay, great. My answer is always great. Okay, great. Then of this, how much do you have? And then they tell us, okay, great. So then we need to look at other options. Perhaps do you have retirement? Ask some other questions. Is there a family member that would love to see you be in a home and be able to help you? You never know. Don't make any assumptions. You have to ask questions. It's just like the doctor. When you go to the doctor, Dion, and you say, Dion, you say, Doc, I have a headache. I feel like it's a migraine. By the time they're done asking questions, you're like, why did you just ask me about my grandmama on my daddy's side? What does that have to do with this headache? Because if I don't ask questions, then I'm going to be committing malpractice, because I'm going to be prescribing something and I haven't gotten to the root of the symptoms. That's what we're doing in the consultation. This consultation is as imperative as when you go to the doctor. It is, because you're helping people make one of the most major financial decisions they're ever going to make, whether it's their first home or their 10th home. This is typically the most money we as Americans drop on any one thing at a time. So they're coming to you as the doctor. You have to ask questions. A lot of them don't make any assumptions. And they literally could have a relative that's willing to give them that money. You want to know that up front, though, not when we're already under contract and then they're trying to find that down payment. You know what I'm saying? But you don't want them to be discouraged. You want them to be encouraged. Hey, there's a way. Let's find the way. Make sense? Okay. Thank you, ladies, so much.
Thank you.
Great.
I appreciate you hanging out with me for an extra few
Thank you
minutes.
so much. Toshma, I have a question about your sheet in there about the housewarming parties.
Yes.
Is that something you're willing to share?
Oh, yeah.
That sheet, could I take a picture of it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you can take
I
pictures.
haven't done it yet, but I'm wanting to do that in the future. And so I've been, like I was on KW Connect looking at, people talking about them and all that. Are you sure you don't mind sharing?
No,
Okay,
I don't.
great. Thank
Anything
you.
in here, I don't mind sharing. And if anybody has any after class questions, you can ask me. It's totally fine. What Stephanie's talking about is I have partnered with one of my lenders, and we do a joint housewarming for the clients that we share. So we have set a budget, an allocation for X amount of dollars, and we get the invitee list. So that gives us new names to put in our database of people to market to. That's the whole point. So we set up the evite. It's like, hey, Tracy, just send me your 25 people with names and emails, and we will send the invitation out. So now you have 25 names and emails of people that are at least excited about somebody buying a new home. And then you can go out into the neighborhood and invite neighbors, as long as you're okay with the actual new owner. Invite the neighbors, because that's a good source of listings. Because I guarantee you their agent didn't give them a housewarming after they sold. So it's another way to get more leads.
What would be considered too late after the sale to do a housewarming?
That's up to your budget. Our requirement is within 6 months.
Within 6 months,
Mhm.
okay. Yeah, because I had 2 clients that back in the fall, and I had kind of mentioned, and then it didn't happen, and now we're getting like, is it crazy to try to do that after they've lived there for 6 months?
No.
Or it still would be
Because some of them
considered-
don't want to, because their house isn't ready.
Well, that was
And-
the one client
Take
said,
out
we don't
your
have our
furniture."
furniture yet, and we want to, so, okay, so it wouldn't be weird for me maybe to go back at this point and say, hey, we kind of discussed it back in the fall, are you interested?
Absolutely.
Love to do it, and then, I like having the form though, because then it's not like open-ended, like they can invite,
Right. But they
50
can.
people. Well, yeah.
They can. This is what we say.
Okay.
25 people.
Okay.
We've priced out stuff at Costco, Walmart. Look, I work for $3.99. For those of you that don't know me, I start at free, and I begrudgingly go up from there. So if I get it for free, then that's.
So what is your budget, like with 20, let's just say like
250?
250, okay.
Between the
Yeah,
other-
that's what
between the
Jerry
lender and I.
mentioned to me. Yeah.
I
Okay.
get 25 names just from that, and then potentially, and a lot of them have more. So what we say is, well, we'll do our portion up to 25 people, and then you're welcome to do the supplement.
Okay.
We take liquor out. They have to pay their own
Right.
liquor, their own decorations, and all that.
So the decorations, they do themselves?
Because they
Okay.
pick their own colors and all that good stuff.
Right.
We bring directionals. I literally use my for sale signs. Actually, I got some open housewarming signs made, but you can use your sign with directionals, because that kind of implicitly gives people, hey, she's out here. That I'll do balloons at the front, and then we bring the food and maybe like a tea or a water, tea or some kind of drink. And then if they want to do more, they're having a full-blown backyard barbecue, great. We'll bring what we're gonna bring, and that's it.
They do the rest.
Mhm.
That's great.
I have a question about that, because I did one, and I struggle with the list. Meaning, feeling like I might be going too far with the names that they provided me. So how do you manage that? Do you set expectations with the client? Do you just look at people in your database and then go from there and let them opt out? How do you handle that?
Yeah, like I mentioned that I'm co-hosting with the owner
Right, so that's
for this
one
open
touch,
house.
right?
I'm their
Like on
agent.
your Evite kind of thing?
Yeah, I did
Okay.
that, and then I sent them a thank you afterward.
Mhm.
Then beyond that, I'm like, do I just keep
Yeah,
them in my?
that's it. Told you no.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's not too late, because I did mine a month ago, so it's time to touch them again.
Because you
Okay.
still can reference back to that. Hey, I
Right.
met you at the open house. I mean, at the housewarming.
Yeah,
And I just, want to see what your interests were.
Right.
And of course, obviously, at the housewarming, you're networking.
right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you, that was the question. What do you do at the housewarming?
We may provide one little icebreaker.
I did that.
And
Such as, like, example.
gosh,
I can share mine.
go ahead.
We did, it was like related to things like how many houses did they look at before they settled on this one? How long did they call? So it was like a guessing game, and people had a lot of fun. They had a lot of fun, and the client's grandmother was just like, I want to win that prize. But everyone,
the prize?
just little, I did like a cookbook, I did just kind of house type of things, and she won a crystal vase, and it's like things I got at Ollie's for like $5
Wow.
a piece.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the point. You want to go. That's the second point. You want to go to pick up yet more people and or solidify relationships with those names that you got.
So you did that, and did you have cards or anything?
I had my cards
Just
out.
kind of like at the front, or like?
Yeah,
at
just
the-
on a little table
That's what I
where
was thinking.
where they picked up the what you call it, and I also put it on the coffee table.
Oh, like
And I was the
name,
host, and I wore my name tag.
Okay. Yeah,
It was
that's what I was
clear,
wondering.
and so I
how to
welcomed
do it.
people, and then they did a blessing. So, but I made sure I had like a couple minutes to say, "This is who I am." And
That's what I, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm still.
And it was not awkward, it was good.
It was
just
good, and I
enough.
told them I was really there to serve, so they could
That's
mingle with the guests.
right.
And I brought somebody to help me, so
That
that
sounds
I
like a perfect-
had a little capacity, but a little more capacity. I might
Yeah.
do it a little differently next time.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, thank you.
Hey, do it. It's a way to get back in front of them. And if you, like I said, for $250, if that's not in your budget, then partner with the lender. They can scrounge up $50 or something, to help you and potentially get 25 more
Right,
people.
I did mine for like $150, and similarly, I made a few things, like I made meatballs. I need to get the recipe right, because it's a struggle of, I ended up giving up my whole Sunday, and I was like, okay, I gotta get this recipe right, because I need to be able to do more things.
I do
But,
do
yeah.
that too. Like I honestly, I made so like my partner probably paid more than I did. I made some stuff.
Veggie trays are
So-
easy to make, cheesy crackers. We just did
Yes,
bananas,
ma'am.
and I made it
I
clear
do.
it was not a
I
meal.
sure did.
Made it
Not a
clear.
problem.
I buy a house for you just for that.
You remember?
Yes,
but we don't
and you
actually-
did have
what-
to do the form.
Got it,
Hot meal,
just
hot
said
meal.
something for like 2 minutes.
I'm serious, like seriously, not related to real estate. I did like the name game. So you, Dion, give us a one word to describe you. So you'd be Dazzling Dion. Everybody go around and give a thank you. And then whoever can name everybody, gets a little prize. It was just literally just something to kind of break the.
So no introduction.
Oh no, I just let them know who we are.
Okay.
My partner, my lender will say who she is, I'll say who I am. Here to help Dion purchase her home, and we just wanted to show some appreciation, and that's it. No business, like we don't talk business, we
Right,
talk
right.
business individually.
Right.
So if someone wants to
Okay.
Like I said,
say something, or I'll go up with something.
Yeah, I never did that.
Handed out to the person.
You were pretty good.
We did the name, something and then kind of in the middle, and then it was just, okay.
Yeah, I was just wondering, like,
Okay.
timing wise.
Yeah.
Okay, so, 35 minutes.
I have no idea how I got to started at 1. So I came late. On top of being late, I'm sorry. But the last 15 minutes were just incredible. Well, I'm glad I did. You always. I was sort of like, this is short and sweet, but it was good. I don't know what I missed in the beginning, but I think you summed it up pretty good. I got what I needed out of it.
I think a lot of people aren't doing this sheet for sure. A lot of
I have somebody who called me out for, I don't understand your process, but then she won't follow my process, meaning I couldn't get her into a buyer consultation, and I'm realizing that is gonna come back to bite me, because I didn't do a buyer consultation, I addressed this in the buyer consultation. So I haven't addressed it with her, and I need to address it.
It as much as possible needs to be a non-negotiable.
Yeah, you said that, but now I really realize it, because she's got me, first she was pre-qualified, and then she said something about, and then she said, well, I don't have any money. And I said, well, now you need to go back to the assistance meeting and then it's, well, now you need to get pre-approved. And we've been waiting on pre-approval for now. And then she said, I need to go look at this house. And I'm like, and then I go back today, and I was talking to the guy, I said, well, the price is a little bit above everything. And I'm sitting here, how can I get out of going there without saying, I don't feel like driving out there, see one house, it's not gonna be that. Because she's looking at her price field there. So I said, well, looking at this range, and it might be best just to let it wait for a few days to see, because if it doesn't sell after a few days, we can probably get them down, and we'll have your approval on it. I don't know, wait, we had to lose one today.
And she had the other two, she got the down, I got the earnest
Well,
money.
now I need to find out if she's got all that, because I don't think she does.
So I want to make sure
Yeah.
that we're gonna win, Selena, today.
Yeah.
We took this out.
Yes, I love that.
Well, I was gonna ask you the extra stuff first and say thank you for this, but, I'm terrible about doing consultations. I get people who they've been looking on Zillow, they call me, want to go see a house. We go see it, and then we kind of get into it, and I will know, you know, like I get the buyer's broker signed, and I find out if they're pre-approved, those are like my two like main things, but we still haven't sat down. I had some first-time home buyers who seemed very knowledgeable about, we had been looking like a year ago, and they were kind of waiting, they found something. We ended up getting it, but through the process, I realized how little they knew, even though they seemed like they knew so much about the process. And, you know, so that kind of speaks to